And a pleasant good evening to you, along with Sean Van Winkle. I'm Geoff Kim. Neither team enjoyed their last game out. Talawanda saw its 4-game winning streak come to an end with a 66-63 overtime loss at West Claremont. The Brave got a double-double from Logan Smith, 20 points and 10 rebounds. Meanwhile, Ross lost the battle to the Rams last Saturday, 65-46. Despite a game-high 22 points from Kellen Reed, the Rams have dropped 3 in a row and 5 of their last 6. So as we bring in the coach, Sean Van Winkle, coach, it's a brave new world potentially tonight for Talawanda, and one last gasp for Ross. Who's it going to be tonight? We'll know in 32 short minutes.
Absolutely, Jeff, with the title on the line and teams trying to gain momentum, obviously going into next week's tournament play. Our game of the week should be a great one. Electric atmosphere here in Ross Township tonight. We have senior night, Hall of Fame night, DJ E-Train's in the house, and of course, like you mentioned, Jeff, the league title is on the line.
With a win tonight, Talawanda can grab their first title of any sort since 2008.
Thanks, Jeff.
Takes me way back. We'll have a story on that in a little bit, but as we dissect the X's and O's, partner, I think as we start with Ross first.
Yeah, we'll jump into Ross right away. And again, these are the keys of the game for Ross to have victory tonight. Number one thing is rebounding. Talawanda has a rebounding advantage over the Ross Rams. They are second. They are the second best rebounding team in the SWOC, that being the Brave. The number two thing is advance fast on offense. They want to speed the pace, Ross does, and put pressure on the Talawanda Brave transition defense. The last one is make shots, Jeff. The very last game that these Ross Rams were on the court against the Baden Rams, they shot 21% from three. And if they shoot that way, they're going to have a really hard time winning tonight.
Well, one of the things that goes along with that before we get to Talawanda is free throw shooting. And a game that you would expect to be close, this is a Ross squad that shoots just under 73% at the line.
Yeah, if the game's close and it's on the line, I don't know who you foul for Ross because they all can really step up and make shots. But can you do it with pressure, and can you do it with the game on the line? So with that being said, Jeff, we'll jump right into the Talawanda Brave and talk about the keys to the game tonight for the Talawanda Brave. The very first thing for Talawanda is they got to protect the paint. The Ross Rams, they're known for Princeton offense, but they also run what they call Memphis, which is a dribble drive offense, and it's predicated on getting 2 feet into the paint and kicking it out for the three. So the Brave want to keep them out of the paint. The next thing is offense for Ross Rams. They want to be patient, but they want to have pace. So Ross will run the ball up the floor as fast as they can, but they also got to be really opportunistic on how quick they shoot the ball to make sure they have a high-level shot. And then the last thing, Jeff, is Talawanda Brave have got to own the inside. They got a clear advantage, and we're going to talk about Mr. Smith all night, but they got to own the inside. They have a big advantage in there with what could be the player of the year in the SWOC and Logan Smith.
Logan Smith is averaging 14.5 points a ball game. This is the impressive number, partner. 12.5 rebounds a ball game. That is a snootful.
He's leading both in rebounding and scoring and field goal percentage. And I asked the coach, I said, Coach, how did this kid become so good? He said, it's all about the weight room. And if you look at him warming up right now, number 32 is at the foul line. That's him. His body's changed. His physicality's changed. He lived in the weight room. And the other thing Coach said is he drugged the rest of the guys in there. So their conditioning is really good right now for the Talawanda Brave.
Both teams are fairly well matched up as you would expect in a championship game scenario, though the records themselves might not dictate them. Ross is 10-11 right now, 6-3 in the SWOC, tied for a first place lead in the conference. The Talawanda Brave at 13-7 and at 6-3. Something that you and I had talked about prior to the ball game, partner, is the ebb and tide of a season.
It is.
Prior to the new year, it was the Ross Rams that looked like they were going to run away with things. 6-2 with an overall record. Since the calendar changed over to 2023, they're 4-9. On the other side, Talawanda's been pretty steady, 6-3 before the break, and then after the break, 7-4.
Couple things to hit on there, Jeff. Coach Lane never had a losing record. Right now they're sitting at 10 and 11. He didn't lose as a player, he didn't lose as a college player, and he sure in the heck hasn't lost as a head basketball coach. Now, to talk about their tail here in January, they don't play a lot of guys. And so if you don't play a lot of guys and you play as hard as they do, it's tough on these guys. So you got to be careful in practice and so on and so forth. And then that's the number one thing. The other thing, talking about Talawanda Brave, their record has been steady. They play more people than Ross does, but they have really got some young guys that are getting better and better. The Isaiah Mead-Moss, sophomore, is starting to come into his own. Great shooter, really good defender. Another sophomore is Kale Leach. Coach told me the other day, those two guys are really learning how to defend. So some youthfulness when they started the season, but they're veterans now because it's February, Jeff.
We need to set the scenario for you before we get to this game started. The winner of this game grabs at least a share of the SWOC title. Northwest, who also is at 6-3 in the conference, is at Mount Healthy tonight, and with a win will grab a share of the title. With a Northwest loss, tonight's winner wins SWOC outright. For the Rams tonight, it could be a walk-off title win, if you will. The last ever game for them in the SWOC, and their second in 3 years. Ross and Edgewood, by the way, are headed to the Southwestern Buckeye League next fall.
Yep.
Ross, by the way, as we talk about the tail of the tape a little bit and talk about them and Talawanda, the Ross Rams are scoring 54.5 points a ball game, giving up just under 55. It's a minus 0.4 in point differential. Talawanda at 54.6. They give up just under 53 points a ball game. Their differential this season plus 1.8. No matter how you slice and dice it, the idea that this will be a blowout for either team is unlikely.
0%. I'm not going to put any cash. I don't have the cash you have, Jeff, but if I did, I wouldn't throw it out there because I think you're right. It's going to be a really close game. Ross is exiting. They're heading to the Southwest Buckeye League, a great league for them. Coach Lane's excited. The athletic department is as well. But this is going to end up being a really, really good game. Two very evenly matched teams.
We mentioned at the top of the broadcast that both teams are shooting 41% from the floor this year. Exactly 41%. The free throw advantage goes to Ross. The two-point jumper advantage around the rim, that goes to Talawanda at 47% to just under 46 for Ross. But the three-point shooting advantage goes to the Ross Rams at 36%. Talawanda shooting about 32.5%.
About as even Steven, isn't it, Jeff? Very even teams, both of them.
And we expect a really good one tonight. I think also something else to mention, we were talking about streakiness and what have you. The Ross Rams had a 5-game winning streak earlier in the season. I know David Lane would really love to get back to that point going into the sectionals. And Talawanda has won in as many as 5 games in a row and then had a 4-game that just got broke up with overtime loss here in the last week. We're due for a timeout. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineups in the opening tip. This is our game of the week on Chatterbox Live. If you're ready now, let's give you the starting lineups here in this ball game. First for the visiting Talawanda Brave at 13-7, 6-3 in the SWOC. Connor Roberts is in his first year at the helm. 3-guard look, 0 is Isaiah Mead-Moss at 6'1", a sophomore, wearing the number 0. 2 is Bryce James at 5'10", a junior. 3 is Trevor Norris at 5'10", a senior. Up front is 22, Kale Leach at 6'1", a sophomore, and 32, the presumptive player of the year in the Southwest Ohio Conference, Logan Smith, wearing the number 32, as we mentioned, 6'4", a senior. The Ross Rams are 10-11 this season, 6-3 in the SWOC. David Lane in his 6th year at the helm is 90-49. 3-guard look, 3 is Isaac Nunn at 5'10", a junior. 5 is Riley Caldwell at 5'11", a junior. 33 is Ben Vogley at 6'1", a sophomore. Up front is number 14, Luke Fulmer at 6'3", a senior. And 32, Kellen Reed at 6'2", a senior. And as we bring in my partner Sean Van Winkle back into the broadcast, one name that won't be heard on the floor, but will get recognized tonight for the senior night matchups here. is Geoff Valentine.
Geoff Valentine, a senior. Geoff, he last year he had 7 or 8 on-the-record concussions, had a little bit of seizure issues. During practice, went down. And his dad actually had to end up doing CPR on him. So he was unable, and brought him back to life, obviously. And I'm getting chill bumps and almost tears thinking about it, but his dad brought him back to life. Can you imagine your father doing CPR on you? Brought him back to life, and he hasn't been able to play sports, but he's healthy. Just announced earlier today he's going to UC to go to engineering school, and they're going to announce him tonight as one of the starters, but he's not going to play.
And it's like a scenario that we saw like a week ago over at Fairfield.
Exact same scenario. Injury. You hate seeing kids just lose their senior year, whether it be injury or whatever else, but it's really tough on them. You know, Coach Valentine is a coach for Ross, and he's the freshman coach, and so his son is the last kid going through for him.
Little history lesson, by the way. The last time these two teams met, despite a massive double-double from Logan Smith, 17 points and a career-high 19 rebounds, it was Ross that won it in Oxford on January 13th, 51-39. The Rams have won the last 13 in this series, and for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure there's a lot of you there, and I'll save you the need to look it up. The last time the Braves won, the Brave won in this series, you have to go back to February 12th, 2016 in Oxford, 55-48. So we're talking about a stretch of 7 years.
It's been a while. It's still a rival game. I mean, I understand that, but if you get beat 13 times in a row, as the crowd just went crazy for Geoff Valentine, but it's still a rival game. It's going to be a close game. You know, Coach Roberts, is really doing an excellent job with the Brave. They got a lot of energy. They play off his young enthusiasm. And we got 2 young coaches here battling it out. And tonight, someone's going to have an opportunity to cut the nets down and win the championship.
Our second championship game in a row. As far as a Friday night is concerned, and we are looking forward to this one. Should be a tightly contested one here at the home of the Rams. Ross comes out with the home whites tonight, with the brown numerals and the gold trim. It's the red uniforms tonight for Talawanda, and the white numerals in trim.
Geoff, I'm anxious to see how Ross defends the ball screen action offense of the Talawanda Braves.
It's Smith and Luke Fulmer, the jump center tap into the backcourt, belongs to the Rams, and away we go here in Ross Township.
Kellen Reed, nice pass to Vogler.
And a great start for the Ross Rams. 3 from the corner for Ben Vogler.
They probably were praying that went in as they struggled last time out, but that's a great shot. Good kick out for Reed there. Vogler, sophomore, knocks it down.
Catch and release. 3 to answer back, Cale Leach.
Cale Leach is really coming on as a shooter, very confident. You probably know his name, Geoff, as being the quarterback of the Brave football team this year.
Threw for 1,000 yards, threw for 10 touchdowns for Talawanda. Tied up at 3. A good hot start here in the gym tonight. Vogler gets a touch. Isaac Nunn penetrates and back outside. It's Kellen Reed from the corner, no good. And the ball chased down by Talawanda. Up ahead to Isaiah Meade-Mouse. To the rack he goes.
Isaiah really under control there. Kind of shifted his body so there was no charge call. Isaiah Meade-Moss is a really, really good player. His father, Geoff, head basketball coach for the Middletown Middies.
Here's a drive and in. That's a charge, beg your pardon. We love Kelvin Moss, by the way.
That's his son. So it's tough on Coach Moss because he doesn't get a chance to see his kid play a lot. But boy, he does try to get there. As Trevor Norris steps over, senior, only one of 3 seniors that play for the Brave, and gets that extra possession for the Brave with the charge.
And the charge belongs to Luke Fulmer. That's the first team foul of this half. 3 from the wing. This time it's too short for Leach. 5-0 run, by the way, for Talawanda. Here comes Ross. Here's a drive. No good. Foul on the shot as Ben Vogler was trying to make his move and try to get his 5th point.
And Coach Lane talked about one of the keys to the game is advancing the ball and not allowing the Brave to get back and settle in their defense. Talawanda is really good in half-court defense, so if you put the pressure on our transition defense, as Vogley shoots his first, knocks it down. Vogley is a 78% free throw shooter. But if you can advance the ball and get them on their heels, that's exactly what Ross is going to try to do.
Good-looking sophomore, 6'1", averaging just under 12 points a ball game, and he knocks it up.
Baseball player for the Rams. First team All-State as a freshman last year, Jeff. His father just got the job as the head baseball coach.
Second tie of the ball game. Mead Moss back outside. 3 on the way!
Great pass.
Bryce James logs on.
Great pass. Now, that James name has been very familiar in the Talawanda Brave world. He's the last one. Brothers were both really, really good players, but Mead Moss did a great job getting in, kicking it out.
It's Riley Caldwell between the rings, and he gives it up for Kellen Reed. Fulmer gets a touch on the elbow, something that we saw as he has it back at the free throw line, back outside. 3 on the way, left it short, Isaac Nunn. And it belongs to Talawanda. Something that we saw in your game with Reed Mouse back on Saturday is when Ross actually played the half court well, they were having a guy right at the elbow to get the high-low pass in.
Yeah, they were really trying to work against this matchup zone that Baden played as Mead Moss gets it to the basket.
So Isaiah Mead Moss gets his second field goal of the night, and it's 10-5.
Help side wasn't there. Ross right now, Jeff, they're running their Princeton-style offense, which is their motion offense. Now they're going to the dribble drive, which Coach Roberts was worried about because it's those paint touches, Jeff. They're trying to get in, paint touch, make a pass. Paint touch, make a pass.
Outside, 3 for Reed. He knocks it down.
Did a good job, Caldwell getting his feet, kicking it out. That's exactly what Coach Roberts was trying to prevent. Keep those guys out of the paint. One of his keys to the game as he takes it to the rim.
Nothing doing. Logan Smith, no good. He gets it back. He puts it up. He is fouled in the act. Luke Fulmer got him in the paint with 4.5 to go.
Yeah, Logan Smith just working down there. Gets blocked, gets his own rebound, gathers himself, goes up. Just excellent effort. Fulmer puts his left hand over, and Logan Smith steps up to the line where Jeff, he only shoots, 60%, I believe.
61% at the stripe this year, but as we had mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the presumptive player of the year in the conference, he lets fly in the first and good.
You know, the thing he said about it, he being Coach Roberts, said about Logan Smith's free throw percentage, it was really, really bad to start the year. He told me, he's like, Coach Van Winkle, here of late, he's really shooting the ball well from the foul line. So he's been getting in the gym and making those.
Good knee bend. He lets fly and makes them
It's
both.
2 in a row.
You know, and he's got a good body on him, as you had mentioned. The good workouts over the offseason have paid off. Broad-shouldered, thick trunk. I mean, he is well put together.
Yes, definitely.
Here's a 3, too strong, and
Castater.
Ross letting 5.
Castater gets the offensive rebound. A junior sub for the Rams, getting some playing time.
Nunn outside, and they play a 2-man game. Nunn gets it back, and he triggers 3 to none.
Jeff, it's all about trying to get down, getting those paint touches and draw too. And Kellen Reed with an excellent pass back to Nunn. Nunn's a great shooter. His brother obviously was a great player for the Ross Rams when they made their title run last time. So bragging rights on the line where he can tell his brother, hey, I won a title too.
Smith lost it. It's loose, and it's a jump ball. You're talking about Sam Nunn, who ended up going to Rose Holman.
Yep. And Sam was engineering student, Rose Holman. Reed Mouse is a Bluffton guy, so I'm not sure he really likes Rose Holman much as the Talawanda Brave takes it out. Ross Rams are playing man-to-man on underneath out of bounds, which they rarely do because.
Oh, a nice entry and a good finish there for Mead Moss.
It's a great slip there. They switch everything, Jeff, so the screener slip there by Mead Moss really did a good job as they're trying to get paint touches.
It's Reed stuck low right outside on the skip pass, and they'll reset.
Spacing's good.
Vogley on the dribble drive. Back outside. 3 from the corner is too short for Riley Caldwell.
James contested 3 there. James didn't bite that time, Jeff. He kind of tricked him. Got a high hand on the 3-point attempt by Caldwell.
It's Leach outside. Both teams moving very crisply here in the early minutes.
Great
Logan
spacing.
Smith low right, nice turnaround. Can't find a shot on the baseline, and now here's a drive for Mead Moss again.
He wants the foul, too. They're having a hard time keeping him away from the paint. An excellent driver.
Mead Moss with 8, a 5-point lead for Talawanda. 3 off the catch, 3 on the way!
Caldwell did a good job of gathering himself. Reed knocks it down, one of the 2 seniors that play a lot for the Ross Rams.
Kellen Reed with his second trifecta. He's averaging about 12 a ball game, 16-14.
I like the offense, the entries that the Brave are using to try to get Logan Smith on the block.
3 ball, not good this time for Leach. Smith thought he had it on the baseline, he lost it, and it belongs to the Rams.
What effort by Castater. Junior for the Ross Rams, number 11. Down there just battling one of the height advantage, Brave. The strength, Brave. But the effort right there, Castater really did a great job trying to gain the possession for the Ross Rams there.
Bryce James checks out. Number 1, Malachi McRoberts at 6'1", a senior, checks in for the Brave.
Malachi's a very, very good shooter. They got guys that can shoot it well, as you mentioned earlier.
Here's a long 3 to get down, and Ross has the lead. Isaac Nunn with a second trifecta.
See, they're doing some high ball screen and then trying to just bring Smith down in as we got a left-handed floater. Trevor Norris with the left-handed floater there. Will Schaefer in for the Rams, buried in the corner.
Stepped out.
Turnover, Vogley there.
So that was quite a sequence there. A couple of lead changes. We got 3 lead changes and 2 ties so far in this first quarter.
See, Jeff, when they come down on offense, the Talawanda Brave here, they're doing a high ball screen with Logan Smith and then having a guard back screen Logan and bring him into the block to try to get an instant change. And Castater's got to fight through. Otherwise, Schaefer's going to be stuck on one of the best players in the league. Watch this high ball screen, Jeff, and then a back screen to get him down into the block.
Mead Moss with 8 in the book, stuck left of the lane, down to Smith. Backs in, and 1! The big man answers, he'll go to the line for the old-fashioned 3-point try.
See, the back screen allows, watch Castater here, he gets stuck behind him. Mead Moss gets the ball in the block, and when you're stuck behind a guy like him, game over. You got to try to front him, or you got to get him outside the paint. But that was an excellent post feed by Mead Moss. He's a player. He can shoot a little bit, can drive a little bit, and he's an excellent passer. Smith, we jinxed him there, Jeff.
Can't drop the old-fashioned 3. Kellen Reed the rebound. A made 3 will tie things up. Caldwell on the drive, dumps it off. High-low, no good. Caught in the act, and we'll see free throws.
Great bounce pass there by Caldwell. Caldwell, football player for the Ross Rams. Really good athlete. Great defender. Might be the best defender, Jeff, on the Ross Rams as Keithan Castater steps up to shoot a free throw. Shoots 75% as he knocks it down.
So 6 of 8 now, 7 of 9 this season at the stripe for Castater. 6'2", a junior.
Get more playing time. Get more playing time at the end. Remember we talked earlier today about the lack of bench for the Rams, and he's really sorry to interrupt you, but really starting to get more playing time for Ross.
Averaging about 1.5 points a ball game. Well, and they need it, right?
You have to. You can't play 5.
Well, you can't play 5, and I think for a good part of the season, as we looked at like the composites, right? There's a lot of times where David Lane's playing really about 7 players a game.
Yeah. 7 isn't terrible, but there was a stretch where, it was 5.5 if you want to call it. As there's the high ball screen by Smith, and he's just diving down into that paint.
Leach outside. Norris has a touch right now.
4-on-1 offense here. Good spacing.
3 off the catch, and the bank is open. Kale Leach with another.
Schaefer went under the ball screen there, forced him to shoot the 3. Leach banks one in.
Drive, Schaefer to the rack, no good. Talawanda with the ball, up by 5. McRoberts to Mead Moss, stuck out on the baseline. He's been the spark plug here in the ball game, but I think we're going to see Logan Smith start taking over.
They're trying to make an effort to get into the ball. Obviously, the Talawanda Brave are going to take the last shot, 22 seconds here. They're going to run a set play.
Norris checked by Vogley. Vogley still has the assignment on the ball handler. Outside, Mead Moss looking baseline, stuck left, low left, and now outside, Leach. Outside, Smith with 2 on the game clock. He throws up, 1 at the buzzer. And what a way to finish off quarter number 1.
Yeah, you got the drive here. No help by Reed. And he just banks it. That's a great shot. Great defense by Keith Castater. And here's a shot. I don't know if you want to stay. This shot's worth $1,000. You don't care about that? Okay, go ahead.
We're due for a timeout. We'll come back here on Chatterbox Live. After 1 period, boy, we got a lot of scoring here in Ross Township, 25-18. Along with Sean Van Winkle, I'm Geoff Kim. Our crew tonight, Reed Mouse, the mighty one producing us, and Chad Moore is our videographer. Partner in this one, Isaiah Mead Moss really set the tone early with 8 first quarter points.
He did, and he did it a couple different ways. Hit a 3 early, driving the basketball. I think he hit a 3. Did he hit a 3? No, all 2s. But, yeah, just really getting the ball to the basket. But very balanced scoring by the Brave tonight, as that's what they do, Jeff. I mean, you can't concentrate on just one guy. You got Smith, Mead Moss, Leach. They all can score the ball.
By the way, we have 8 makes from behind the arc so far this evening. Drive, no good, foul, and Kellen Reed will head to the line with 7:51 left to go till halftime.
Nice isolation play for the Ross Rams coming out of a timeout. They buried Vogley in the quarter, and if Vogley's guy was helping too much, Reed was going to kick it out. Kellen Reed steps up, knocks down the free throw. But there was no help, so he had opportunity to try to get it to the basket to draw the foul.
Reed scored a season-high 22 in your game.
Yep.
The Battle of the Rams, as he makes them both. On Saturday, he had 6 makes from behind the arc, 6 of 11. His career high, a game that you and I saw a year ago. It was one of those classic Ross Edgewood games. He has a career high 24. Nice jumper.
Kale's on fire with another great pass by Mead Moss.
The long ball has been in effect tonight, 28-20. Ball's loose, it belongs to Talawanda. They've been aggressive on defense, and a timeout. So a timeout charge to Talawanda with 7:21 left to go.
Diving on the floor to save the possession. Obviously, Mead Moss is like, hey, guys, I'm not just an offensive guy. I could D it up, too. What they're doing on the high ball screen, Jeff, is a really tough thing. They're down in the screen. In other words, you're getting so high to where the offensive guy for Ross can't use the ball screen. They're down in it to that corner. That's a great way to guard a ball screen, and it's giving Ross some trouble. It's really giving Ross some trouble.
The advantage in this ball game has been, by and large, to Talawanda. And we had mentioned at the top of the broadcast that this might be a brave new world. Think about this. Connor Roberts is in his first year, definitely by far the youngest coach in Southwest Ohio. He just turned 26 last month.
Yeah, he
26.
He was an assistant for Fairfield for the last 3 years, Jeff. And Coach Wyrick said he was a very, very, very instrumental coach for their run the last couple years when he was there for the GMC titles.
Nice step around. High arcing 3 cannot drop for Bryce James. The putback is no good by Big Smith. He puts it back and gets 2 more.
He had 3 people draped on him, and they just could not stop him. I mean, it's a clear advantage. We talked about it in the keys to victory. Own the inside is what Coach Roberts said, and they're owning it early in this first half, Jeff.
Vogley has it, and it's a 10-point lead, a double-digit lead for the first time tonight at 30-20.
Down in it. See how they're down in it and not letting him? Yeah,
Reed has it tapped away from him on the double team.
And that's tough, Jeff. I mean, it's so. How do you combat that? You got to slip the screener, just trying to get him to get a cheap basket there.
Caldwell Works around James. He pumps and goes glass to score 2 of his own. So Riley's in the book, averaging 8 points a ball game, 30-22.
Caldwell, very, very good defender.
Leach feeds Smith. Shoots over Castator for 2 more.
Yeah, Castator he's getting stuck behind and he's getting deep, Jeff. It's not bad being stuck if you're pushing him out of the paint, but when he's burying your head underneath the rim like that, it's tough. You got to front it. That's a 3.
So Isaiah Mead-Moss cut Ben Vogely up in the air with 5:53 left to go till halftime, and it's, again, as we had mentioned, a double-digit lead here in this ball game.
Thought that was on the shot, but they didn't give it to him on the ground.
So that's 2 on Isaiah Mead-Moss, and he'll check out, give way to Malachi McRoberts.
So what do you do, Jeff? He's a sophomore, 2 fouls. You leave him out the whole half? You're up 10?
Well, given the luxury, right, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you sit him?
I think you do now. Yep, exactly, and you said it best. If they didn't have the lead, no way.
Caldwell pumps in and out, everything but the basket. And Castator with 2 of his own on the rebound.
That's a second offensive rebound for Castator. He's got some speed advantage on Logan Smith, but he's really got a disadvantage as far as strength.
They start Logan Smith top of the key. Here's a 3, back iron and out.
Look
Chased
at
out
that
by
effort.
Smith. That's pure effort
That
right
is
there.
effort and going after. That's why he's the leading rebounder in the SWOC conference, Jeff.
He's nimble on his feet for a big man. And I know it's hard to say 6'4" is a big man, but in this conference it is.
It is, and it's his strength. I mean, he's big. He's tired right now, it looks like. Working really hard.
Nice step around. 3 from the top of the key is no good for Bryce James. It's loose and it belongs to the home team, Ross.
Castator blocked him out, allowed his teammates to get a rebound, he being Smith.
Vogely on the stop and go to the rack. No good, and Smith the rebound, and he will slow things up.
Smith's tired.
Yeah, he needs a break.
He's working, Jeff.
He's a spectator, and this one is no good for Norris. It's a rare miss for Talawanda that close to the hoop tonight.
They've been shooting the ball really well.
Caldwell, right of the lane, stuck. Nearly picked up the pivot foot, and a nice bounce pass. Your favorite.
Great defense by James there. Talawanda Brave.
Reed, but little 2-man back with Caldwell, and they'll put Vogely into it. A deep water 3 off the mark, and it caroms out and about, and it belongs to Talawanda.
Vogely's a really good shooter. Doesn't get a lot of clean looks because the scout report. When you're 22 games in, the scout's out. I mean, everybody knows everybody, and that first clean look that Vogely had in the corner was probably the cleanest look he's had in 2 or 3 games.
Well, right now, speaking of tendencies and play calling, right, everything has been built around Logan Smith, top of the key, and then moving him down the post.
Yep, and now they got Caldwell in there fighting with him. Caldwell has strength.
Caldwell plays running back and quarterback for the football team. So you'd expect him to have a little bit of muscle for Kenyon Cummins.
Now they're using Logan Smith as screener there at the high post.
He draws the double back outside. It's James. Kicks and now gets back. They're really looking for the 3 ball tonight.
Well, they're being patient, Jeff. They got the lead. Ross is playing great defense here, and they're just being patient.
This one tapped around and saved by Ross. Here's Vogely up front, 1-on-3, and he'll have to wait for the rest of his team. A lot of 4 and 5 out in that last sequence.
Yes.
Here's Reed, he pops 3, back iron and out, and this one will be out of bounds, and it belongs to Talawanda.
Shooting a lot of 3s. Early in the game, Jeff, they were getting more paint touches, which allows that 3 to be at 19-9. Lately, every 3 they're taking, Jeff, it seems like it's like 22 feet out, 23 feet out. Those are hard to make.
21, Will Schaefer's in the ball game for the Ross Rams at 6 foot tall, a sophomore.
Hammonds is in there as well. He checked in, Jeff. We missed that earlier. 34 for Ross.
At 6'4", a junior. David Lane has a young team.
He does. He only plays a couple seniors. Got a lot of guys back. A lot of guys been in this program a while. Reed goes for the steal.
James was wide open. He knocks it down. His second tray of the night. And it's the biggest lead of the ball game at 11.
When you go for the steal like that, Geoff, you better get it.
Caldwell on the drive and a reach in.
Clean game, Geoff. Only eight fouls now in the first half.
Logan Kent reached in at 6'1", a senior. I believe that's his first. Common foul. And like you said, neither team in foul trouble tonight, at least in this first half.
Pretty clean game so far.
Hammonds dumps it down low. Vogel and one!
They did a great job using a shooter as a screener here, Geoff. If you watch this, you got Vogel who sets the screen.
Right. And that elbow pass, right?
Yeah, and then if you seen Vogel on the outside, he would have been open if his guy would have helped more. But it was a great pass by Hammonds, who's getting a well-deserved break there on that little curl action.
And Castater takes his place.
You kind of like how Coach Lane called something by the rim instead of trying to call a three-point shot. Trying to get as many looks close as they can. As they run a little 1-2-2 zone here, which is the first time I've seen Ross run this year. Oh, that was close.
James back outside. Three off the wing is no good. Under 2 to play in this first half. Ross has cut it back to an 8-point ball game. Here's Reed, the drive, and 2 more.
Again, Barry Caldwell in the corner. Malachi Roberts Mick Robb did not step in to help.
Kellen Reed has 13 first half points, 35-29. He's the leading scorer in this ball game. Drive, left hand shot, no good for Norris, and he'll go to the line.
It's a nice drive by Norris, naturally a left-handed player here. As you see him, Geoff, trying to get paint touches. Smith sets the screen and makes Castater switch out onto a guard, and he is going downhill, and Castater's trying to stop him as Trevor Norris steps up to the line. He's a senior, one of the seniors that plays a lot. Both these teams are young, Geoff. I mean, Talawanda Brave play a couple more seniors.
65% shooter at the stripe this year, and like you said, a natural lefty.
Hammonds and Nunn coming back in. Looks like
a little funny to see David Lane freely substitute right now.
Look confused, but now it looks like the Rams got it under control here. Slow down a little bit as far as scoring, but they're still scoring a lot. I mean, both teams settling in here to try to win this SWOC title.
1 of 2. Hammonds the rebound. 7-point ball game. This game was as much as an 11-point spread for visiting Talawanda. They looked inside for Vogel, tapped away from him by Kale Leach.
Yeah, they tried to run that isolation Iverson screen, I call it, for Nunn to clear out that backside for the backdoor play.
Schaefer appeared to be in just for the defensive possession because here comes Riley Caldwell back in.
And here's the second part of that first out-of-bounds play they made.
Vogel misfires on 3 and a tie-up on the rebound.
Jump ball.
It is a jump ball indeed. So Malachi McRoberts tied up with Logan Hammonds.
Yeah, they ran the second part of that out-of-bounds play that time, Geoff, which is Vogel coming out after that curl screen. Little 1-2-2 press here. And all this is doing, Geoff, they're going to drop back into man-to-man. But this is something Ross hasn't ran, and I guarantee Talawanda hasn't practiced on it. So you always just want to kind of throw it at him. It's token pressure. And now they'll match up.
Well, how much is what we saw on this defensive sequence, how much of that is preparation for the sectionals?
It could be, because you want to try to slow people down. You know, Ross plays LaSalle, who, you know, I don't want to say they run, Geoff, because they scored 27 points the other night total. But they do like to get the ball up the court.
McRoberts stuck. Leach will pump 3. Right wing away and no good. The rebound to Smith, who's going to pull the China shot, and now he's tied up and fouled.
What great effort by Smith. And then you got called. Well, look at this effort by two people.
Yes.
You dive and call. That was a foul. He kind of clean. He took him out there. I hate when they call fouls on dives, but you got to call it when you take the guy out, I guess. Right, Geoff?
You know, I thought this was a big-time wrestling move almost. It almost looked like Riley Caldwell was trying to put Logan Smith in a figure eight.
Yeah, it was. I don't know who I would take in that. Speed versus strength.
Well, I will say this while we have a moment to talk about Logan Smith. The footwork has been impressive. The ability to go get rebounds and chase him down and not just be stationary has been really excellent tonight.
I've just been impressed with his effort. I mean, he is playing with great effort. Ross did a better job underneath out of bounds there.
Leach on the catch.
Lost the screen, slipped before.
And they're going to run some clock. In fact, they may take a final shot as we melt the clock down to 30.
I think you're right, Geoff. I think this is probably going to be the last shot for the half. As they're going to use Logan Smith as a screener.
Leach.
At the high post. And they'll end up diving him down here. They're going to dive him down.
14 on the game clock. 4 out. And as they move James into the paint. And now Smith back outside. And now here's a shot to the rack for Norris.
That's the second time they've created that downhill drive as Reed shoots the three.
Back iron in and out, and that's the way this first half ends.
Second time downhill, creating a switch where the Ross Rams have to try to defend a guard off that high ball screen by Logan Smith.
Trevor Norris makes it a 9-point affair here in Ross Township, and we are due for a timeout. When we return, we'll look back at this first half and look ahead to half number 2 when we return on Chatterbox Live. We're at the half, and it's a 9-point spread for visiting Talawanda in the SWOC championship game. Along with Sean Van Winkle, I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us here on Chatterbox Live, our Week 12 action senior night here in Ross Township. And it's been a fun one, partner, though more of the fun has belonged to visiting Talawanda. Early on, it had been the young guard Isaiah Meade-Moss with 8 points as fast as you and I could blink in the first quarter. He got in foul trouble in the second quarter, and then Logan Smith took over.
And Geoff, again, we talked off the air. If there's someone better than Logan Smith in the SWOC, then we obviously would like to see him because he's doing everything. He's playing great interior defense. He's scoring the ball inside the paint. He's setting great screens for his guards to free up. And the Talawanda Brave are a very, very balanced scoring attack. Everybody who started has at least 5 points. And for the Ross Rams, they came out hot, slowed down a little bit, and then clawed a little bit in the second, just enough to make this, again, only a 9-point lead for the Talawanda Brave going here to start the third quarter.
We've seen 3 lead changes and 2 ties in this ballgame, all in the first quarter. Of note, when leading at halftime, Talawanda is 8-3 this season. When behind at the half this year, the Ross Rams are 4-8. Right now, advantage Brave.
It is, yeah, and it's hard to play from behind, but if there's a time you can do it, Geoff, it's tonight with a capacity crowd, a league title on the line, Hall of Fame night. I want to put a shout out there to my high school basketball coach, Coach McCollum, who's being inducted to the Ross Hall of Fame. Got some great memories. League title. We won a league title when I played for him, and just a great guy. So, exciting night.
So kudos to Fred McCollum for his induction tonight, amongst others. I mean, it was an induction night in the Ross Hall of Fame. And back underway as Riley Caldwell, who's back into this ball game, gives to Ben Vogley.
Yeah, Reed getting the ball to the basket. They're trying a little isolation for Reed.
Ball's loose, recovered by Fulmer, who really, we didn't call his name much at all back in the first half.
2 early fouls early. 2 early fouls in the first quarter, which allowed Castater and Hammonds to get some quality run. And I thought both of them did a really, really good job trying their best to handle Logan Smith, Geoff. And see them down in that screen, and that's the slip I'm talking about.
And one!
That's the slip I'm talking about. They're going to down that screen. The guy screening has got to slip as we get the replay here. And they finally slipped. And there's a nice bounce pass, and Fulmer goes to the basket. Great adjustment there by Coach Lane at halftime.
The big man Logan Smith picks up his first.
Got DJ E-Train down there spinning for.
Meanwhile, the old-fashioned three completed by Luke Fulmer, his first points of the night, averaging about 7.5 a ball game. It's a 6-point margin here in Ross.
Looks like the Brave are going right back to what got him here, trying to get Smith on the block, and he's got a guard down there as they go for the steal.
Good ball denial, Vogley on the steal.
He had to front that, Jeff, because he was getting ready to get pinned.
Reed waves off Vogley. Fulmer, and I think the ball game complexion will look a little different with Fulmer being able to play in and out a little bit.
A little bit. He's a little more agile. Really been a steady player as they're down in this ball screen again, forcing that down to the baseline.
None plays. Caldwell back outside. Fulmer dribble drive in on Smith, stuck low right, and they'll have to reset. Still can't find a shot as Caldwell tries to find an opportunity. He pumps. No good over James. Back tap, initially belonged to Caldwell, but taken away by James.
James with great defense here. Kept his feet, didn't jump to try to block the shot. James, he's played since his freshman year, Jeff.
Three on the catch and release by Leach, no good. Smith got undercut, no foul called. A little surprised on that.
I think the Brave are. He was up in the air, and I think they did get him right in the back.
Caldwell's shot is no good, and Smith the rebound. We don't have an
way to
official
run
total.
the floor.
Back to Leach.
Way to
and
run the floor.
No timeout. I think they're just resetting.
They're just trying to get some kids a little bit off the floor there. Capacity crowd tonight, Jeff. They're trying to sit on the floor. But what a great pass for the Brave to get it ahead. And that was Leach that scored, right?
Yes, and he picks up his 11th point of the night, 40-32.
Been extremely impressed with him. Young sophomore.
Wrap around, and we head the other way. Intended for Vogley in the left corner. No one's home.
Coach Lane wanting to foul on the pass there. I didn't really see it. I was kind of looking in the corner for the shooter there. That's a nice little play they run. A little weak side flare.
Norris got a high screen from Smith. Catch and release. Leach for three. Back iron and out. And it's loose on the floor. It belongs to Talawanda. No good from Mead Moss. Here's Caldwell. Stop and go into the paint. Outside. Vogley catch release. Three off the mark. The save by Kellen Reed, and Ross resets. Reed had to go up high to save that possession.
What you called that? He did. I thought that was going to go third row.
That's a mama look what I got. Here's Caldwell stuck in the paint, and he threw it away. Taken away, and here's the bucket in transition for Trevor Norris. Timeout. With 4:53 to go here in this third.
Ross with a quick timeout, trying not let it get ahead of him there.
Back to a double-digit lead. We saw the margin raise up to 11 back in the first half. It's a 10-point spread right now for Talawanda. And talking about this possibly being a brave new world for Connor Roberts and the Brave, this is a squad that in their last 10 years, you go back to the 2013 season, they've only won once out of every 5 games, 46-182. They are 13-7 this year.
And they've had about 5 or 6 coaches in that stretch. And hopefully the Brave upper administration see what they have in this young man and get behind him and support him, because Coach Roberts is a really, really good coach.
In that run, or the lack thereof, for Talawanda in the last 10 years prior to this one, they had 5 last-place finishes in those 10 seasons. Tonight they have a chance for a league title. It's Vogley with the ball, out to Caldwell, top of the key. Down by 10. Stop and go, back left, looking for Vogley. Well, up, back out to Reed.
Going to their Memphis-style offense here, which is just trying to drive and kick. A lot of standing around. If you look at the Brave, they're really not. There's not much action
against that 2-3.
Yeah, it's really not. It's man-to-man, but there's no movement.
Reed misses the elbow jumper, and here comes Talawanda up by 10 in the ball. Nice feed to Smith. No good.
Easy
charge.
call.
He worked in on Sean Vogley, and boy, you want to talk about a bull in a china shop.
Look at Vogley here. He's like, oh, do I do this? Do I do this? And I do, and he's going to feel that tomorrow morning.
I'm looking at the two players, and we don't have weights on them, but that's got to be a 34 to 40-pound advantage there for Smith.
At least. The advantage I have on you, Geoff, about that. Well, maybe more, actually.
Fulmer thought about three, plays back, Caldwell top of the key.
More movement now. They're really moving and screening, trying to get the Brave isolated.
Caldwell works underneath the hoop. He can't get it, and Smith yet another rebound. Again, we don't have an official count on Logan Smith, but if there's a rebound that Talawanda's got tonight, you might as well just call it Logan Smith.
Well, he's been a double-double guy all year. That's not going to change tonight. Not on SWOC championship night.
Mead Moss has it with 3:21 to go here in the third. They work in. Smith low left and one.
Got another one.
No, another charge.
That's a great call. Post feed.
Wow.
They fronted, and if you front a big guy, you've got to have help on the weak side. Watch Caldwell rotate over here, Geoff. He sees it, gets there. It's a great call. Great call.
And Caldwell will get a well-deserved break for Ross.
I think that's how you guard him.
Logan Smith will come out saddled with three. All three have come here in this quarter.
Yep, you called that because he got his first one early in the third.
And the last two have been charges down in the paint. 3:17 to go. It'll be something to see what Talawanda can do without Logan Smith in the lineup, who has been so effective rebounding the ball and giving the Braves second chances on either side. Here's a drive. Kellen Reed to the rack. Kellen's got 15 in the book. 42-34.
Come up limping a little bit. Reed had some knee problems early in the year, I believe. If Ross wants to make a run, Geoff, this is the time with Smith being on the bench. Now, do you leave? I leave him out probably the third quarter. Like you said, they got a little bit of a lead. He cannot get his fourth in the third. So they're really going to do a great job of what I call milking the clock. And just really, as Mead Moss shoots a three.
And he knocks it down. His first trifecta tonight.
Looking at the Ross student section, and
the answer back for Vogley, who knocks it down. Tits for tat here in the third, 45-37. Eight for Van Vogley. Some contact low in the paint. Will Schaefer, who's into the ballgame, he came in when Caldwell initially went out. He picks up his first. Catch and release. Three on the way. Bryce James locks on. His third trifecta tonight, and it's back to an 11-point margin.
What a great shot by James on the underneath out of bounds play. Coach Roberts down there pumping his fist.
Nice drop off for Fulmer on the assist by Reed. Good job by Fulmer to play in the paint, come out to the low left and score two of his own.
He did. He kind of circles in. That's what they do underneath. Try to go underneath the defense, they call it, and get to the weak side. And you got to bounce pass it over there as Mead Moss takes it to the rack.
No good. Tapped out. It'll stay up front. It's not often that we think about the baseline being an offensive friend, right? You think about it as a defensive friend, but on the offense, you saw the leverage there by Fulmer being able to straddle the line and play down low left.
Went underneath the D, just like you said, right down, right on the baseline. If he goes out of bounds and comes in, Geoff, you're not allowed to do that.
Mead Moss on the catch. We'll see if they drive the offense through him with Big Smith out.
Yeah, you got to think they're going to just keep this spacing and really make Ross play defense on long possessions here. Ball reversals.
Tapped away, saved by Ross and taken back by Talawanda. Leach plays down low. Oh, and a good answer for Logan Kent.
Senior Logan Kent getting some good minutes here, with Smith being out.
His first deuce, 50-39. 45 seconds to play.
Is this the biggest lead for the Braves?
Tied at 11, yes.
Yes.
And
Got to think last shot. Coach Roberts. Coach Jones over there, Cameron Jones, Hamilton guy, is over there. He's the #1 assistant for the Talawanda Brave. He's been there 4 years under 3 head coaches.
He's got some stories to tell.
He does. And I asked Coach Roberts about jumping on Hamilton in the tournament, and I know that Cameron Jones, who was a player at Hamilton, had a lot to do with that.
Norris with 15 on the game clock. Looking for the screen, gets one from Kent. Drives, kicks out. Leach steps around. 3 on the way to punctuate the third. One more shot at the buzzer. No good for Isaac Nunn.
What a take. Just everything's falling for him. I mean, that's a contested step-back 3 for the Brave. You talked before the game, though. They could really shoot the ball from 3, Jeff.
It's a brave new world for Talawanda when we come back on Chatterbox Live. To the fourth quarter we go, 53-39, the biggest lead for Talawanda after 3. The Brave are 11-3 when leading after 3 quarters this year. 2-8 are the Rams after 3, 1 behind. Along with Sean Van Winkle, I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us on Chatterbox Live. Reed Mouse is our producer tonight, and Chad Moore has your shots on video. It's a 14-point spread. This is the biggest lead of the ball game, and that last 3 by Leach was, I don't want to say a dagger shot, but that sure looks like it right now.
When you're bringing Logan Smith back in, he got a little bit of rest. Remember, he was a little tired in the first half, but this is the conditioning that Coach was talking about all offseason with Logan Smith, hitting that weight room, is to finish these games strong as they're going into their ball screen continuity, which I was wondering how Ross was going to guard that. They trapped the first action.
Smith low left, decides not to shoot around Caldwell, and they stay out. 5 out, in fact, right this second, and now looking to see if someone will play in. Mead Moss outside the lane.
No dribble here. There you go.
Leach bails out Smith. 7:15 to go until the SWOC title.
Jeff, they've taken 50 seconds off the clock, now going on to a minute. This first possession being the Talawanda Brave.
Mead Moss drives, stops, and now back to Leach. 3 on the way, no good, and we'll see free throws.
Fouls a 3-point shooter after taking 1 minute and 5 seconds off the clock. As Fulmer gets underneath Leach. And that's an easy call for the referee.
It's number 3 on Luke Fulmer. You know, I know we talked about Isaiah Mead Moss back in the first and Logan Smith throughout this whole ball game, but Kale Leach, especially after the dagger 3 in the last quarter, has really been a factor tonight. He makes his first.
The thing that Coach talked about him, and we had a great conversation Wednesday, he said this, and he goes, I'm not saying this in a cocky way, Coach Van Winkle, but this guy has some good confidence. He's a very confident individual. And he goes, and I'm not saying it in a negative way. That's the way he carries himself. He thinks he's the best player on the court. He thinks he's the best defender. And tonight, he's leading his Brave to possibly a SWOC championship.
One more free throw in this sequence, and he makes all 3. He's got a game-high 17. 56-39. This is the biggest lead of the ball game. 17-point spread. If you're Ross, you can't dribble around. You got to look for shots.
You got to set some screens. A lot of standing around here. Now they're starting to move a little bit in their Princeton offense.
Fulmer sets the high screen. Nunn drives to the rack, misses it, gets it back. We'll reset. He'll put it back up high off the window for 2 more.
Got to press a little bit here. A full court press for Ross. Rams only with 2 fouls, so they can play aggressive. Trevor Norris, a senior, really doing a good job.
Fouled. He drew the double team with 6:13 to go. just a common foul. In fact, both teams with 3 fouls here in this second half, so nobody's in foul trouble. Individually, however, it's Luke Fulmer, and he just picked up his 4th.
Buffalo's their ball screen continuity. He got that from Coach Wyrick, who runs Buffalo for the Fairfield Indians.
Mm-hmm. By the way, what a show Fairfield put on last week when we last saw DJ and his crew.
And I talked to Coach Wyrick in trying to prep for this game tonight to tell him to give me a little bit of information on this young Coach Roberts. And he says, Coach, when we lost him from Fairfield, it was a huge loss. He's a young, good coach, puts a lot of time and effort into it. And we see tonight they're very, very prepared for this game.
Drive, Mead Moss to the rack. We saw that a lot in the first quarter. He's got 13 in the book.
Great play, great pedigree.
Reed, nice pull-up and got 2 more of his own. And a timeout. Charge to Ross with 5:34 left to go to the conclusion of this one. Something that has to be said, and we didn't really get a chance to say it out of the halftime break. The strongest quarter by either team this year has been the third quarter for Talawanda, where they outscored their opposition by 43 points. So when we saw the single-digit margin at halftime, a 9-point spread, balloon up to where we're at now at 15, that's all because of the halftime adjustment by Coach Roberts and the scoring threat down low by their big man Smith.
And give Coach Jones a lot of credit. I asked Coach Roberts, what's his responsibility? I love hearing what everybody has to do. He says he's in charge of scouting. He's in charge of prepping. He gets the guys ready. Who you guarding? How are we going to guard them on defense? What are we going to do on offense with the way they guard? The switch that Ross had on a slip underneath out of bounds. That's all Coach Jones. He gets all the preparation and all the credit for that scouting. And to your point, Jeff, for them to come out of halftime is the way they do. It really says a lot about their coaching staff.
And this really tells you about Connor Roberts and what he's done for this team. And I think to your point, right, he's energized the program. I mean, think about this. 4 years ago, this was a school that went 1-22.
1-22, been through 11 coaches in like 14 years. They got to get behind this young kid, they being the Talawanda administration, and let this kid grow with this program. And they will appreciate that because it'll pay off big for the Brave.
Riley Caldwell picks up his second, just a common foul, and the 4th here in this half for the home team, the Ross Rams. Caldwell has the assignment, and now he'll pick up another. As he tried to defend Trevor Norris, and Riley will pick up his 3rd. 5 team fouls now, so the bonus will come up. You have one more foul to give before the bonus becomes a factor tonight.
Yeah, and if you're looking at that for Ross.
Leach in space, can't drop the 15-footer.
Good pass.
Oh, nice move, and none finishes.
Great pass.
Isaac has 10 in the book tonight, 58-45, and you need more buckets like that if you're going to come back if you're the Ross Rams.
If you're Ross, you got to think about fouls right now. Logan Smith, 60%, the lowest free throw shooter. Although he shot a lot better as the season went on.
He's at the elbow, plays back.
But down 13, you got to start thinking about that with 4 to go.
Norris to Leach and returns it to Bryce James. It's the starting 5 that's in there for Talawanda.
It is, and they're running Buffalo. They're trapping those ball screens.
Well, I bring this up as James has it. It's winning time right now for Connor Roberts and his crew.
Yeah, they got to think about fouls here if you're Ross. Just try to extend it a little bit.
Norris outside. Here's a wide open 3 off the mark for Mead Moss. A good possession, if nothing else, for visiting Talawanda tonight. They've evaporated a ton of clock.
They have. I mean, that very first possession to start the 4th quarter, Jeff, 1:05 off the clock. Every possession, they're doing a great job.
High-low, deflected, intended for Riley Caldwell. Well, we saw something similar in the Hamilton-Fairfield game a week ago. We saw like a minute and a half stand by Fairfield in
I
that
would
game.
foul him right now. That's too late.
Mead Moss in the lane, and before he can make a move, foul. With 3:34 left to go.
You know,
All
Jeff,
we're waiting for, beg your pardon, is the exclamation point.
you're right. And, Jeff, I was wrong. Mead Moss is 59% from the foul line, and Smith is 60. But those are the two you got to foul. You got to roll with the numbers, right? I mean, you're down 13 points. Make them beat you from the foul line because they're going to just milk the clock and make the possession long.
Timeout charged to Talawanda to save the possession with 3:34 left to go. Partner, as we potentially look ahead, well, actually, before we do that, I want to talk through this, right? Because we've talked about the emergence of the Brave, this potentially being a Brave New World, and we're on our way to having a Brave New World tonight with a SWOC championship. The last time they won a title of any sort, you had to go back to 2008. You were coaching Ross. David Lane was your point guard. How about that for symmetry?
Jeff, I thought I liked doing games with you, but for some reason, yeah, Talawanda Brave, the last time they won a league title was right here on this court in 2008, and we lost the league championship, and the Talawanda Braves at the time, under Coach DiCello, they won the league title, and they traveled well tonight. Coach Roberts says they traveled well to West Claremont Tuesday night. I mean, they're dying for this up in Oxford, Ohio, and they're getting it with a great, gritty effort by these young men for the Brave.
They had a 5-game winning streak at the end of December. 3, no good, foul. So we'll see more free throws. They had a 5-game winning streak at the end of December into the start of January, and then another 4-game winning streak before losing in overtime on Tuesday. So they've been hot as of late.
Second time they fouled a three-point shooter there in this second half, Ross Rams. As James step up, I talked about him earlier, Jeff. Now, he's been on this team for 4 years. And I'm sorry, for 3 years. And he played as a freshman, played last year, and obviously he's a junior now. Had 2 older brothers go through the program. Father was a high-level basketball player in Trenton, Ohio for the Edgewood Cougars way back in the day. A very good high school basketball player is Bryce James.
Had a career-high 18 last month against Waynesville. He's got 10 in the book right now.
And that balanced scoring attack for the Brave continues.
Give them 11. And it's back to a 15-point lead at 60-45. So right now, if you're Ross, you're on the verge of running out of time. I mean, you need a quick bucket and a quick defensive stand, and that's what you really need to start off with. Reed plays it out. Vogley curls out to the right of the lane, and now back to Reed. He pumps 3 right on the key, and he knocks it down.
Nice step back 3 there for Reed. Ross playing hope here. Yeah, I think you got to put him on the foul line. That's the way I would play it, especially when they get it across here.
Norris, and we have an official stop. Talawanda has called for the TO with 3:03 left to go here in this ballgame. As we look ahead to the future, what lies ahead, obviously we've got the sectional starting up next week. Talawanda is the 22 seed. They'll take on Hamilton in the Lakota West sectional. That is a Thursday game, I believe, a Thursday game at 5:30.
Yes, it is.
And as we look for Ross, and by the way, I wish we could show everybody at home the sheet that we have here to look at all the games. The 24 seed Ross has LaSalle, the 12 seed. That's also a Lakota West sectional game, and that is on Friday, I believe, and that's a 5:30 game.
Talking to both people, talking to Coach Roberts, why Hamilton Big Blue? He said he felt like it was a good matchup. It's the Jones brothers going against each other. You know, Cooper Matthews is a great guard. They feel like they can guard him. Holden, very good athlete inside for Hamilton, but obviously they got Smith. And for the Ross Rams, they jumped on LaSalle, but they really didn't have a ton of options. Coach Lane said, he's very familiar with the Lancers. They do a lot of scrimmaging in the spring. In the summer and in the fall. So he felt like it was a good matchup. That's what tournament's all about, Jeff. Who can we play where it's a good matchup and we have just a chance?
We were talking about familiarity, and of course we talked about Kelvin Moss, whose kid, Isaiah Meade Moss, is here playing for Talawanda. There's not an opportunity initially as they work into Smith low left as he double and triple him up. So there's not an opportunity initially. They're in different parts of the sectional. Talawanda and Lakota West, and then Middletown, where Kelvin coaches. I believe they're in the West Claremont sectional.
And they are
12-point ball game. Here's Leach, the nice turnaround. Well, that's a pretty one.
They spaced it out. Coach Roberts did not want a shot.
Runner in the lane and good. Riley Caldwell will head to the line.
And Leach makes one down at the other end as Caldwell, as fast as he can, gets the ball down the court for the Rams as they throw it ahead, get inside the gaps, goes right at James. Caldwell with a nice finish and a finger roll. You're going to ask me for a play of the game at some point, Jeff, and I don't know if I can answer it. I mean, you got such balanced scoring.
Wave off the basket.
I think he said somebody stepped in. Yeah, I think somebody from Ross stepped in before the shot there.
So wave it off on the free throw attempt. It's 62-50. Rams show pressure, and now Meade Moss has it, and now this one tapped away. Riley Caldwell tried to intercept it like a defensive back, and instead it'll stay up front.
See, they're running him through. They're running Norris through, and if they switch, then Meade Moss steps to the ball. But right now, they're just going to space it out as much as they can and keep moving the ball. Look at the spacing here for the Talawanda Brave. They're trying not to bring people. Oh, hey, look at this.
Meade Moss back outside. Open three off the mark. And the rebound to Norris, and Talawanda will retain. Meade Moss drops it off Smith. Low right, drew the double, throws one up, and that's a pretty shot.
Left-handed hook, old school style. The Kareem Abdul-Jabbar hook, who just got surpassed by the King.
LeBron James.
That might have been a nice play of the game. Icing on the cake.
Icing on the cake, indeed.
Left-handed hook, old school style.
Up by 14. Here's Reed, left of the lane. Pumps 10 feet away. No good. And the rebound to Meade Moss. He's got numbers. I think they're going to wait, though. 1:25 to go until their coronation. Foul as Reed came in, tapped the back of the ball handler Norris. And the Talawanda faithful feeling it. Kellen picks up his first with 1:20 to go.
Trevor Norris, although he only has 7 points for the Brave, has done an excellent job at point guard for the Talawanda Brave tonight. He's done a really good job of controlling the tempo, spacing. And as a point guard at this stage of the game, you got to step up and hit these free throws, and he does. Lefty. Very impressed with his defensive game tonight and his ability to lead his team.
Trevor got the first, looking for the second.
Look at this.
Off the mark, tapped out, and it'll stay up front with 1:19 to go.
Logan Smith just being a man-child down there.
Well, he's been everywhere tonight. I know we don't really do a star of the game as much as we do a play of the game, but he's just done so much, and I know Leach is going to end up being their high scorer, but Smith has just been a revelation for us tonight.
12 points and
a ton of rebounds. Leach with 2 more.
12 points and double-figure rebounds. Logan Smith has to be the player of the year in this conference.
Kale Leach has the game high 21. 3 for none. No good. Leach the rebound for Talawanda. Under a minute to go. 17-point lead, and do we have a foul?
Yep.
The whistle came a little late after the initial contact up high. I thought they were going to almost let him play on after that.
Logan
Vogely
Smith
picks up the
coming
personal.
out to a standing ovation for the Talawanda Brave. Senior Reed, Kellen Reed coming out for the last time as a Ross Ram on this court. Big hug from Coach Lane.
The rebound to Luke Fulmer. What an odyssey it's been for the Talawanda Brave. Steele, Norse. And I don't know, if you're Ross, do you allow them to play it out?
No, I mean, they're just going to let them dribble it out. I don't think they'll foul.
Caleb Kuykendall is in the ballgame. He will handle the ball. 20 seconds to go and a foul. Fulmer came in on Kuykendall. And Luke Fulmer has just fouled out of the ballgame with 5 points. He got in foul trouble early in the first half and never really got back on track. 19.2 left to go. Kuykendall is 1 for 3 at the charity stripe this year. 5'11". He's a senior on this ball club.
He's the guy that in practice every day makes these guys better. He's just a big piece of the puzzle as everybody else.
And he gets 1 of 2. And the Talawanda faithful is very appreciative. That's the icing on their cake.
Looks like they're getting ready to rush the court.
Here's a long 3 off the glass and out. And here comes Talawanda with 5 to play. It's a brave new world. Talawanda wins the SWOC.
Your final score of tonight's contest, the Talawanda Braves 68, and your wins of Ross 50.
An amazing, well-rounded effort for the Talawanda Brave to improve to 14-7 and capture their first league title since 2008. Mercy, what a finish.
What a finish. Congratulations. Hats off to Coach Roberts. It's all downhill from him, right? He's his first year, wins the league title. In all seriousness, I mean, what a great effort by the Talawanda Brave. What a great effort by Coach Roberts and his team. And it's exciting times for Oxford as Mr. Beck is allowing the students for Talawanda to come out and celebrate. First class by Mr. Beck here, the Ross Athletic Director. It's all about the kids, Jeff. I mean, they're going to remember this forever.
Especially this group. They're going to remember this Talawanda team at that school forever.
Now, we got a young coach in there that looks like he's as excited as the students. I believe he's the freshman coach. But, man, what an exciting night, Jeff. What a way to end our season, regular season, as far as Friday night special games. And the Talawanda Brave are league champs.
It was a back-and-forth game in the first quarter. In fact, 3 lead changes and 2 ties. And then after Talawanda was down 17-16, they scored 9 of the next 11 points, took a 7-point lead into the break after the first quarter and never looked back. And they ultimately end up winning this one tonight by a score of 68-50. An amazing effort. Kale Leach was outstanding as a shooter in the clutch. 4 trays tonight. A game-high 21 in the book for Leach.
Leach, only a sophomore. Bright future for the Talawanda Brave. Did it on both ends. Very good defender as well. And again, like you just mentioned, Jeff, he had a great offensive night. Has lots of confidence, as Coach says. So really happy for that young sophomore for the Talawanda team tonight.
Time now for our play of the game, powered by Headline Sportswear. Boy, partner, I don't envy you right now. What is your pick?
Logan Smith is an old school player. You don't see guys like him in high school basketball anymore, Jeff. I mean, he's a grinder. He gets underneath. He does all the dirty work. He can score at the block. He can rebound on both ends. He's an interior defender. And for me, at the very end, the icing on the cake, Logan Smith throwing up a left-handed hook to put the icing on the cake just shows me the old school move is still there, and that young man has had a heck of a year. I'm going with the left-handed hook.
And that's our play of the game, powered by Headline Sportswear. As we start to begin to put a wrapper on this one, Talawanda has won 5 of their last 6. So they've had a really nice run down the stretch. On the other side, for David Lane's Ross Rams, they finished the regular season at 10-12. And it's been a tough 2023 after starting off the year at 6-2 back in the 22 part of the season. In 2023, since Jan 1, they are 4-10.
Yeah, really kind of limping in to the tournament, which is not what you want to do, especially when you play the LaSalle Lancers. And Talawanda on the other side have won 4 out of 5, I think, and they're playing really good basketball. And that Hamilton-Talawanda game will be an exciting game to watch. I'm not going to call who's going to win that game, but I think it'll be a really, really good game.
And that'll be, I believe, the Thursday game at 7:30. And no, beg your pardon, it's a 5:30 game next Thursday in the Lakota West part of the sectional. Final thoughts on this one?
Congratulations to Talawanda, the last SWOC championship. If the league stays together, best of luck for both teams. We've seen a display of 2 really good young coaches tonight, and we were in for a treat. And hopefully our last regular season game of the week was one that everybody enjoyed watching.
It was a fun one tonight for Talawanda. Partner, fun for us, and even more fun starting next week with the sectionals. We'll see you somewhere in week 13.
Yep, be on the lookout. Just follow Chatterbox on Twitter and Facebook and everything else, and they'll give you a heads up of where we may be.
Again, the final tonight, Talawanda wins the SWOC 68-50 on Kale Leach's 21 points. Game took an hour and 23 minutes to complete. Thanks go out to our producer, Reed Mouse. Our videographer tonight was Chad Moore. And again, next week is the beginning of the sectionals. Stay tuned. Look for us on Twitter to find out where we'll be. For my main man, the head coach, Sean Van Winkle, I'm Geoff Kim. We bid you good night from Ross Township.